Today, we're discovering the only 5 metrics that actually matter when you're running your print on demand store. Because if you've ever opened a dashboard that looks like this, or an ad account that looks like this, and there's just numbers that are getting thrown at you left and right, and you're wondering, how do I even make heads or tails of what actually matters on here? Like, sure, I'm certain these all mean something, but what should I actually be looking at? And, I have a full-time job and I'm just doing this like part-time on the side. Like, I do not have 40 hours a week to dedicate to learning what all of these mean. So we're going to be cutting through all of that noise and helping us to hone in on what are the simple numbers that actually move the needle for our business. I've spent the last 10 years running print on demand brands, and I'm going to be giving you my 6 cheat sheets that I refer back to this day when it comes to our metrics. Because once you see these, it feels like turning on a light in a dark room and you finally have an understanding of what's going on in your print on demand store. And the first metric is one that dictates what happens in the rest of the store. Like, without this one being dialed in, truly nothing else matters. And that is our cost per click. Now, this is for when we're running paid ads, like in this account here. Out of all these different numbers, the one we really hone in on is our cost per link click. And even if you never run ads before, you can understand what this means simply because it's the number of people that are clicking on our ad, or more specifically, how much are we paying per link click. And the range that we are aiming for here is between 50 to 75 cents. Why that number? Because that's what we found across all the stores that we've run, and our student stores tends to be the sweet spot where we are getting cheap traffic, and that traffic is telling us which designs people are interested in. But an okay range for this metric is in the 75 cent to $1 range. If you're pushing $1 to $1.50, then that means that there's something that we want to take a closer look at. And we'll talk about what those things are in just a second. And then finally, if it's anything over $1.50, then it typically means that it's either not a winning ad or a winning product, or the mockup needs to be changed, or something is going on that we can dive into further. Now, here's why the cost per click is powerful, because when we're launching, we're able to use that one number to find out, is our mockup good? Is our niche good? Do people like the designs we're making? We're able to learn so much from this single number. And the way we use this is in phase one. So we're just starting out. The very first thing that we use this number to help us with is in our mockup test. And so this is when we're looking at the basically the background, the portrait, if you will, around the design. This is where we're picking one design and we launch 4 to 6 different mockup styles. And here we launch $12.50 per day. And our goal here is a cost per click that's under $1. And then after we found a mockup that is getting under $1 cost per click, then we move on to testing our designs. And then here we change what we're looking for the cost per click to be doing. We want it to be under $1, yes, but winning designs are typically in the 50 to 75 cent range. And then when we're running our brand, like say we've run the mockup test, we know what the background should be. Now we're looking at the designs. The real power in a number is in knowing what to do with it. Like, okay, so 50 to 75 cents is good. What does that actually mean? Like, what action do I take as a result of that? Well, in phase three is when we are adding designs based off the ones that are getting cheap cost per clicks. So say in our ad account, if I see an ad that is getting, or a design, it could be a graphic t-shirt image of, I like yoga and maybe 3 people. If I see that that design is getting 50 to 75 cent cost per clicks, I then make a mental note of it and I go and make 25 more designs that are based on that one. Meanwhile, if you're worried about ad spend, we pause the ads. We only let them run Thursday to Sunday. Meanwhile, we take Monday through Wednesday to make the next batch of designs. And then the idea is that we just rinse and repeat those cycles until we're consistently getting in that range. And this is the first breakthrough moment for many beginners, is realizing that we don't want to keep progressing through the process until we have that first piece dialed in, which is we've tested our mockups, we test the designs. Now we know we have good products. We can move on to the next step, which is optimizing the funnel. So this is where the rest of our 5 metrics come into play here. Because cost per click is honestly only good for telling us, are we getting people to the store? It's not telling us, are we turning those clicks into sales, which is obviously what it's all about. So to paint a picture of this, when we're optimizing our funnel, picture us being a normal store, like a retail store that's out on a street corner somewhere. And our cost per click is telling us how many people are we getting in the door. This is what tells us how many of those people are actually buying and how much are they buying. So the first way we're able to tell this is with our add to cart rate. So here we're aiming for 6 to 8%. Again, this is pulling from benchmarks across our own brands as well as members in our community, but 6 to 8% tends to be the sweet spot, meaning that out of 100 people who walk in the store, 6 to 8 of them are adding something to their cart. And to see what this looks like on a real store, this is our brand that we share with everyone called Sloth Hiking Club. And the add to cart rate is telling us nothing other than how many people came to the site and then clicked this big button here that says add to cart. So every time somebody clicks this button and places a product in their cart, it counts in the add to cart rate. Next metric we're looking for is our reach checkout. This is the percentage of people that, okay, we clicked add to cart. How many people now click this checkout button at the bottom? And we'll see why this is so powerful for us to know in just a second. Then after reach checkout, what comes next? Buying. So the next metric we're looking at is our purchase rate. This is also known conversion rate or checkout conversion rate. There's a couple of different names. Bottom line, it's just out of 100 people who came to site and then added to cart and reached checkout, how many of them actually entered their credit card information and placed their order? So now we're able to see by comparing to benchmarks, where do I stack up? And I encourage you, if you're currently running a brand or you're about to, just keep this in your back pocket as a frame of reference, because the difference between a store that has a low add to cart rate versus a reach checkout, totally different problems that we're solving for. For example, if it's the add to cart rate that's the issue, we know that that means we just have to fix what are the pages where people are able to add to cart, which is this page here. That then tells us all the things that we don't have to focus on. For example, we don't have to look at the checkout page or our shipping settings or all the things that come later on, because we know people are just not clicking this button right here. And we need to stop and sit here and fix it until we move on to the next one. So it's sequentially optimizing each metric in the funnel rather than just trying to do everything and therefore nothing at the same time. And if you're curious about like, okay, great, what steps do I actually take to fix this? Well, we have a 12-hour training where we go into every one of these metrics in detail, as well as the interventions or changes you can make on your site to hopefully nudge the metric in the right direction. Then the fifth and final metric that we look at is our average order value, which cost per click tells us how many people are we getting in the door. Conversion rate tells us what percentage of those people are actually turning into buyers. But up until now, they could just be adding one shirt. They could be buying a single product and we would have no idea until we start looking at average order value, which tells us how many products are they buying each time they get through to checkout. And the sweet spot here is in the $45 to $50 range. Now, some brands go much higher than this, and it heavily depends on the type of product, the price point, all of those things. But what we found is that selling t-shirts in the $30 to $35 range, around 2 shirts per order is a really good area to be aiming for. So these are the metrics, but you're probably wondering, and it's a great question, what should I actually do about these things? Well, we're going to go through an exercise called Why is my ad broken? It's a clever name. I know. Thank you. So the first thing is, if this is broken, so say we have a really high cost per link click, we're averaging above $1 consistently. The thing that's actually broken is your creative isn't stopping the scroll, and we're not giving people a reason that they have to click right now. And the beauty of it is that since we've isolated each area of the business, we know that from this number, it means that it's either the mockup or the design that is not working. And the solution here is simply fix the ad. So we test new mockups and we test new designs. And you'll see as we're going through this how it can quickly feel like there's so many different things to test. And you're right. That's the reason that we do this one after the next. And we don't move on and try to fix the site before we've gotten our cost per click, until we've gotten people coming in the door before we move on to that. So now say we have good cost per click. We're getting people in the door for 50 to 75 cents, but the horror, nobody's buying. Like very, very normal. And it's typical for cost per click to start off high and you'll whittle it down as you launch new designs. Same exact thing holds true for your site. You'll likely start off with a low conversion rate, unoptimized store, and from making changes and from learning like where people dropping off, we can start to take back control. If we have a low conversion rate, we now know that it is not just the conversion rate. It's one of 3 specific things. It's either add to cart, reach checkout, or the actual conversion rate itself. So this is a site problem. Means that people are clicking your ad, but they're not buying. So it's either the store, the product page, or checkout is breaking trust or just not convincing people enough. And the solution here is we fix the store, make sure we have great product photos, the descriptions, trust signals, and overall, especially for print on demand, that it is optimized for speed and simplicity. We do not want to go window shopping down the Shopify app store, just adding on a bunch of stuff. We want to stay laser focused on the only time we should be adding a new app to the site is when we can specifically point to the number, either add to cart, reach checkout, sessions converted, or average order value, that we think it's going to move the needle on. And I can tell you from experience, our sites run very bare bones in terms of the apps. So start with the simplest fixes possible before adding on anything new. Then third, what if we are getting people in the door, they're buying, but the average order value is super low? Well, what this tells us is that people are buying, they're just buying one cheap thing. They're just buying most likely just the one product they saw in the ad that they really liked. They came to the site, found it, didn't see anything else they liked. There's a little hint, and they checked out, which is great. That's a huge, huge piece of progress coming from getting no sales. Now people are actually buying, but we want to fix this by offering bundles, upsells. Free shipping thresholds is the biggest and easiest one. That's like right here on Sloth Hiking Club, how you can see at the top, it says only $15 away from free shipping. Just little incentives we can place for people to help drive up that average cart value. By far, the biggest needle mover here is adding other products that are similar to that bestseller. Like if somebody came to your site looking for humor or beautiful graphics, we want to make sure that there's other designs that kind of fall under that criteria that that specific shopper would be interested in buying. And then the final troubleshooting tip that kind of combines all of these metrics into one is our ROAS, which ROAS, as fancy as the acronym may sound, it's basically just telling us, are these three in the green? Are we getting the right cost per click? Are we getting the right amount of people to buy? And are they buying the right amount? And ROAS, which stands for return on ad spend, has a fun little formula, which is our average order value times our conversion rate divided by our cost per link click. Now, this is a little bit more advanced, so bear with me if you're interested in it. I personally love this stuff, but this really tells us, this paints the whole picture, because when we have our cost per click in the range we're shooting for, and our conversion rate is in the 2.5 to 3% range, and our average order value is at $45 plus, this means that we should be at a 2.0 ROAS, which anywhere from a 1.8 to a 2 is typically break even. If you want to see a deeper dive video where we go super in depth on the ROAS formula and understanding all of the math, then be sure to watch this video that'll be linked somewhere around here where we dive into that. And so the full journey that you're building up towards, now that you know these 5 different metrics, is step 1, getting cost per click under $1. And we don't move forward until we've done that. Then step 2 is we optimize the funnel and we refer back to the cheat sheets above. Then finally, we're hitting break even. Now, all this is designed to be explanatory, but obviously there are a bunch of nuances that go into how to optimize each one of these. And there's lots of different things you can do. What actually moves the needle? That's what we cover in detail in our free 12-hour course that's available over on my wife's YouTube channel. So feel free to check that out if you're interested. But other than that, thank you for watching, and comment down below which metric are you currently working on, and we can jump in and brainstorm together.